You're about to enter the realm of the Lighting King. Ellis Yan of TCP comes back for part 2 of his personal history. What a story, Greg.
Always great, and there's more to come. So be ready.
Yeah. It's funny about, TCP. You got to go to tcpi.com, check him out. But, what a great company and what a great honor to have Ellis come on the show and tell us his personal story. And I think it's time for a new generation of leaders to emerge in this industry. And Ellis is front on that stage right now, Greg.
Yeah, he has the story to back it, and you'll hear some of that today, and the company to back it. And really, that's the other thing we got to touch on is the reason I like TCP as a lighting distributor is because they have everything in every color, in every temperature, in every wattage, in every size, in every shape, including what you're going to see on screen. I just found this out, filament shape LED lamps. You can write the word love or home or have an arrow or have a cactus and in your light bulb. Why? Because TCP just does that kind of thing. If you need something in lighting, they can make it. They're an actual manufacturer that makes product, and they can do that for you, and they do that for you. And I'm having them on and talking to my company next week. They're doing a lot of lunch and learns with distributors. Ellis is coming in and talking to my company next week about all the stuff that's unique to them that no one else has. Because I know they have flat panels. I know they have high bays. I know all that stuff. But I didn't know until I looked today that they have these shaped filaments. You never know where that can come in handy. But they also have 27K tubes. Nobody else does. There's a lot of things there to look at.
Baby, you got what I need. Go to tcpi.com, baby. That's tcpi.com. Of course, a member of the National Association of Badass Lighting Distributors. Right now, check out the Get a Group on Lighting Get a Group on Lighting podcast. Welcome back, Ellis Yan.
Thank you, Mike.
When we last spoke, we were talking about half-cooked rice forcibly being taken from your family, sent to a mountain village, having to learn how to subsistence agriculture on the fly, from rice to pigs to tobacco.
Correct.
That was an incredible story of your like a micro history of the proletarian cultural revolution in China.
It was, but also, that was difficult. But on the other hand, it really built up this internal strength, because when you're in a very difficult time or in difficult environment, the everyday's farming work is extremely tough. But you know what? It started building your body, and your body built up your mind. And to a point, you feel like, I'm okay. I can move forward. It's not going to destroy me. You see what I mean?
It's not that we wish for adversity, Ellis, but that in some ways adversity is a gift. It strengthens our character. It tests us in ways that force us to think about our morality and what matters most to us. So I felt the same way. I felt that you had that this was absolutely intrinsic to the development of the character of Ellis Yan.
That's correct. Because one thing I always tell people is we as a human, we have such a flexibility. And sometimes we do not realize it in a difficult time or difficult environment, how much we're able to stretch ourselves out, how much you're able to take. Like you said, okay, things like that, not just build up the character, you also give yourself a confidence. In other words, I always tell people, doesn't matter how difficult it is, go outside, look at the sky, and tell yourself, sky's not falling. So what's the big deal? Tomorrow will be a better day. It doesn't matter how difficult it is. It doesn't matter how many times we eat burnt rice or the rice patties. So horrible. It's okay. The sun has to go down, and the sun will come up and it will go down again. So I always joke about this. My travel with the people. People say, "Oh my goodness, you travel overseas so often, so difficult. How many hours?" And I using same kind of thought. I tell people, I say, you know what? Airplane takes off, it has to come down. Doesn't matter how long it is, it will come down. So relax. So you're right. My experience really that time for 7-8 years make me, it's kind of very strong internally. Obviously, I do build my body a little bit, lots of muscles at that time. And believe it or not, after that, I kept doing exercise. But more than that is a mindset. It's make my will become very, very determined. When I try to get something done, I pretty much tell myself, you know what, I will never give up. I may not be smart as other people. I may not be lucky as other people. But you know what? If I just hang in there, that's what I learned in the farm. As long as I hang in there, don't give up. Okay? And someday, somehow, at the end of the line, only a few people left. And I will be those one of the lucky ones. Not because I'm smart, not because I'm lucky, just I never give up.
You know, it's interesting. I can't remember when it was, but I think what you're talking about is called tenacity, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I read a study that showed that tenacity wasn't something that people could decide to have. It was something that they were born with. So there are people that are very tenacious and they won't give up and they won't back down and they keep moving forward. And whether that's developed or if you're born with that, it's an interesting idea to think about. But did any of your compatriots from Shanghai, when you were out there, did any of you have any psychological collapses? Was there moments of extreme grief? Was there times when you felt deserted by some of them, that some of them were shirkers or some of them were not, working with the team? And was there a leadership structure? Tell me a little bit more about that before we move on.
Okay. Yes. First of all, very luckily, there were 10 of us. Okay, and 10 of us, as you can consider, that's a small group. Okay, so the structure at that time, we were in a small mountain village, but the mountain village become part of what you call the commune. Okay, in that commune, we have a few hundred kids from Shanghai. Okay, that become a smaller a group, and we do communicate on the monthly basis, and every month we kind of get together, because there's a tradition locally is twice a month. And how do you call that? It's twice a month. It's a market. So all the farmers bring their vegetables, eggs, everything. Market, okay, it's twice a month, and we're using the opportunity. We all get together, okay. Let me say we were lucky enough. In general, I think you will say we went through this 3-4 months, what you call depressing area, because, like I mentioned earlier, all of a sudden you realize, oh my God, we're stuck here. This is our life. We're not going anywhere. It's very depressing. It's not just hardship. You come from big city. Kids have a dream based on what you see. So in a big city, you have big dream of the big city, right? All of a sudden, you look at this mountain, you look at such a pretty primitive environment, you say, oh my goodness, I'm not really going anywhere. I'm stuck here. I'm going to work in the rice paddy and for the rest of my life. That was depressing. But like I said earlier, we're luckily enough. In that group, we really didn't have any kids at that time really complete broke down. really kind of out of control. We didn't have any psychological help because it's so primitive. I mean, people over there, I don't think anybody has any education more than elementary school to start with. So how can you get help, right? Mm-hmm. And for me, and I look at the farmers over there, those farmers, I live with them, I work in the patio with them. I ask myself, you know what? Those people, their ancestors, them, had been working for 100 years here. They're still here. They survived. Okay? Why do I make myself thinking I'm better than they are? Okay, you know what I mean? I try to get my mindset. Otherwise, you're right. You will go nuts. It's just every day think about, you're stuck over there. Okay? Obviously, the difference is if the people born there, they never saw outside their village, never saw the city, never saw the running water, never saw the toilet, never saw the gas, never saw those things. They never thought things like that ever existed. So obviously they thought whatever they had, that's whatever it is. But for us, it's very difficult adjustment. But I think everybody uses their all psychological adjustments. For me, really, I mean, I love that those people. They are so innocent. They are so nice people. And if they can survive, I told myself I can survive too. It was a daily fight. You know, I was so young. You know, so many times in the middle of the night I cry. Say, you know, my goodness, you know. Toughness of life and hardship in working is one thing. Just thinking about there was no future for me. That was extremely difficult.
How wrong you were, though.
Oh, remember I went there when I was 15.
When you were in the depths of that, you thought there was no future.
Oh,
but you were wrong.
That was in future, like
right. You were wrong.
I was wrong. That's what amazing things about life. I was totally wrong. But you know what? Hey, you know, I was not thinking about it. I was wrong at that time.
Sure.
To be honest with you. I thought that was it. Yeah. You're screwed, okay? You're stuck here.
Sure. There's no way out.
No way out. At that time was no way out. No way out.
But there was a way out.
So we left.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
We left last time, and Ellis, you mentioned that you got out. You passed the test, and you moved on. So what? Continue on with that story when you left the farm and what happened.
I miss another story because that's connect together.
Okay.
1973, after Nixon went there in 1992, my aunt on my mom's side, because in 1949, my mom has altogether they had 6 siblings. Okay, 3 of them come to the U.S. in 1949, 1952. At that time, before the communists took over. So 2 of my aunts and 1 of my uncle were in the U.S. since then. After Nixon went there in 1972, the door opened a little bit. So my grandfather was in Shanghai. So my aunt from Cleveland, with her 2 kids, went to China to visit my grandfather, and obviously my mom and everybody over there. Okay. So when they arrived over there, okay, obviously the family all got together. They haven't seen each other or they haven't talked to each other almost since 1949, 50, 51. So everybody introduced their family. Okay, so my mom told my aunt, said, you know, I have four kids. So my aunt said, only 3 here. Where's the 4th one? That was me. Oh, mom said the 4th one in the farm. So my aunt couldn't understand. Come from U.S. Can you imagine, right? It was still during the Cultural Revolution. Anybody come from U.S. say, why the kid supposed to be in the school end up in the farm?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And she said, can he come? So my mom sent me a telegram. Okay. And say your aunt and your cousins, everybody were here. We had a family reunion. If you can get a permission to come, obviously I applied. I went to the local authority government. It's still there's a government over there, and I got my permission to come back. However, it took me 3 days. Remember, now I have to get on a bus. I have a train. Blah 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 blah. Okay, long story short. On the third day, they were leaving Shanghai. And my aunt told my mom, say, this is not right. Okay. And she said, if there's any opportunity, I can help him if it's possible to come to US. Okay. She said, I can arrange for study for him. But that was 1973. At that time, that kind of comments, that kind of things was unheard of because the country was still closed. Okay? And very unfortunate that following day, when I arrived in Shanghai, they already left. So at that time, we never met. Okay. So they come back to the States. My aunt literally helped me to make arrangement for the language school at that time. Okay. See if it's possible. But even that was being made, the arrangement was being made. China was not open. So I took her arrangement, went to the local authority. Everybody looked at me thinking, you must be out of your mind. That's like a no-no.
Did you ask them to go to America?
Right. You could end up in jail just for asking. And obviously I was young and stupid.
How old?
Okay. Oh, at that time was, let me think, 77. I was like 18. 17, 18. Okay. So I thought, hey, I was in a farm. It cannot be worse than that. Jail, maybe. So I'm already at the bottom of the bottom. So what was the big deal, right? But I got a little bit excited. I even didn't know what that meant to me. I got excited, but things just went on. I went back to the farm. Every morning, I got up, go to the rice paddy, rice paddy work. And all of a sudden, these things just kind of came and went. Like nothing happened. Okay. Then, a few years later, then we talk about this school. 1976, Cultural Revolution was over. After 10 years. And Deng Xiaoping come back. And the first thing he did was got to put a school system back again. Got to open up a university. Because of that, all of a sudden, it come out the way is. It's really, there's no way to fix it. So the only way they could do is, okay, there is an entry test for the university. Anybody can pass it, go back to school. That's why I was talking about last night. Then my mom sending me those boxes.
So you're back to your self-study and you're taking this test. Yes. So yes, what happens?
Actually, I was pretty good with history. I was good in English because of my mom. Because when I was in Shanghai, when I was little, remember the junior high I went was a Christian school. So my mom, my aunt went that school too. So before that, actually, my mom, my father, they all speak English. Sometimes, if they didn't want us to know certain things, all of a sudden they switched to English because they didn't want us to know. Okay, we always wondering what they were talking about. Okay, because that's the education background. obviously, we learned something about that. And I was pretty good in Chinese and history, this and that. My math was half decent. But be very honest with you, I was not good at physics and things like that. Okay. So I was lucky enough focus on certain things because I realized I was really bad at certain things. I focused on those things. I was really good at it. I guess whatever I studied, I put my mind to it, and I passed tests. It was shocking to me. I even didn't know, okay? And because after it was done, just like everything else, I said, hey, I give it a try. It's okay. So the day I took the test, I come back to my village, and like everybody else, next morning, the sun come out, I got up, went to work in the rice paddy. About a month later, out of the blue, I even didn't put any hope on it. All of a sudden, there is letter, just like things like that, come down to the local and deliver to me, say, oh, by the way, you've been accepted to a local college. And I couldn't believe it. I looked at this whole thing. I said, whoa, like you guys said, a day ago, I thought there was no future. Sure. And all of a sudden, I have this letter in front of me. Okay, so, sure. Whoa, does that mean I'm getting out of here?
Do you still have the letter?
No, no, because no, I wish I had.
Sure.
Right.
So how did you get your first trip over to America? How did that happen? You went to college. What were you studying in college?
Okay,
and then how did it translate into America?
Then I went to college for a couple, about a year and a half. Okay, because college started on the I don't remember, then 1960, 1977. Okay, now this is another bizarre story because I went to college for 2.5 years. I didn't realize whether years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, after submitted this, asking for silly things come to the United States, it was on the record. It was on the record, but I didn't know about this. So that was also after April. Somehow this April has something to do with me. It was in April, one of the afternoons. The school principal come to me, and he said to me, oh, Ellis, we don't know what happened, but the security bureau wants you to stop by 9 o'clock in the office. And I said to myself, holy, what did I do? I didn't do anything. I didn't say anything. No,
is the security? Is that the college security, or is that a part of the Communist Party?
Communist Party Security Bureau. That's the things.
Yep.
You don't want to get a new tool. Okay. I didn't do anything wrong. I was a good farming boy, So the next morning, I was scared because it didn't. I tell the truth, I forgot everything. I forgot the documents I submitted. I forgot all those things. You know what I mean? I went through the farming, then this and that, and then I was in the school. Okay. So the next morning I went, and it was so bizarre. And the lady received me, and she said, "Oh, do you have a 5 yuan with you?" I said, "Oh, does these days you have to pay to go to jail? Why they ask you for 5 yuan?" Like, whoa, this is something new to me. I said, no, I don't. He said, are you able to get it? I said, yes. Then she said, why don't you come back tomorrow morning, again at 9 o'clock? You need to bring in 5 yuan with the 2 pictures. Okay. Oh, I said, it was, I was a farming boy. I said, okay, would you tell me where can I get those pictures? Oh, then she wrote down the address, said, go here in the back. There is a shop. Go over there to get it. So I went there. I got it. I went back to the school. I have little money. My mom, my dad gave to me just for emergency type of stuff. Now, something kind of disgusting, but usually because money is so little, so precious. Okay, I didn't have any place to put it, but I actually hide my monies in my shoes.
That was your wallet, your shoe wallet.
Yeah,
Love it.
yeah, Greg, you're absolutely right. My shoes and my wallet. Okay.
So, but hang on a second here. If money is so rare, that means
not rich, just not a lot. Okay?
Yeah.
Right.
So, but that means that people aren't going and buying lunch anywhere. They're being served food in the institution they're attending.
Correct.
Like wherever they go in these communist states, these primitive communist states, the food and the well-being and everything has to go with the institution.
Correct. At the meantime, it does exchange in money, but in such a small amount.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. For instance, by today's standard, at that time, the Chinese 10 cents is a lunch equivalent to, let's 2 cents today. Mm-hmm. So you know what I mean? So sure. Korea is people, normal people have their job at that time. They may only have a $10 a month. Mm-hmm. US. You see what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Sure. It's not a lot.
Mm-hmm. But they would eat at the factory they worked at, or they would eat at the
everybody eat in cafeteria. Everybody ate in cafeteria. It doesn't matter school or factory. Okay, obviously in the village that's a different story.
Sure.
Yeah.
But when you go to school, it means that you have a room where you sleep at the school as well.
Yes. Yeah. It's a dorm, so we have like 6 kids were in the one room. Mm-hmm. Okay, and you eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner in the cafeteria. So I went back.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I went back. I went through my wallet. Okay. Mm-hmm. Actually, you know what? That was the only 5 I had. I had a 6 because I had to pay the pictures. So the next day I went to the shop first, got my picture. I went back. Okay. So exactly the same thing. So quick was I give the lady 5 yuan. Then I give the lady 2 pictures. So I asked the lady something weird. I say, okay, so where do I go now? I'm really thinking she's going to send me to jail. I said, where do I go now? And she said to me, you go back to your school. Come back here in 1 week. I said, gee, I never heard anything like that. I was totally confused, guys. Totally confused. But at this point, you could just guess. Actually, they tried to give me a passport. Mm-hmm. Okay, but I didn't know about that. Mm-hmm. Okay, so later what I found out was in the 80s, early 80s, country opened up. So when the country opened up, they went through the old file to look at how many people asked for in the past, or are they decent kids? I just using that word, decent, okay? Mm-hmm. Not troublemaker, right? They are, they are okay. So they literally pulled out those small group of people out and let them out. So I was lucky, was one of those.
And what year was that?
I think in the 78.
1978.
Later 78, early 79. At that time, I was so lucky. I found out later. At that time, you know what I mean? When internally they decide they want to open up a little bit, which means they will allow certain people to leave China. They just went through the old files to decide who's who. Okay? Mm-hmm. So whatever they decide, I was one of them.
So that lady gave you your passport a week later?
A week later, the lady gave me the passport, and the lady told me, say, okay, you have to deal with this by yourself. Number 1, go back to your school, okay? Tell your school authority you are leaving the school, okay? Then now you are your own. You have the passport. You have to go to Beijing, the U.S. Embassy, to get a visa.
I assume, did you want to leave at this point still? Were you, now that you got it, you were, okay.
No, be honest with you. All I knew is I got it. Yeah. I was not that smart. I didn't connect things together, okay? Mm-hmm. I mean, no, guys. Like I said earlier, I was not that smart. Okay, I just said, "Oh my goodness, I got it." I show everybody my passport. It's like, wow, what is this? It's nobody ever saw a passport. So I took care of that. I went back to school. Okay, that was also in the spring of the '79. And I traveled. Now at that time, no airplanes, nothing. I traveled by slow train. Went from Shanghai to Beijing, and I went to the U.S. Embassy at that time because embassy just being opened. Okay, not that long. Open embassy at that time. My mom contacted my aunt, resubmitted all the language school documents, this and that. Right. Okay. Then we sent everything back to Shanghai. Then I put the whole thing together. I submit to the U.S. Embassy in Beijing. Okay. And the U.S. Embassy people were very, very nice. And he said, okay, we got everything. Why don't you go back to Shanghai? We need to process those papers. When it's done, we will send back to you. Just be patient. Go home. Okay. And I went home. So I went home at that time. Obviously, I left the school. Okay, I'm not belong to the school anymore. Based on what you're talking about, Mike, last time, at that short period of time, I belong to nowhere.
Yeah, so that's the Chinese system of Hoku or whatever. I don't know if the pronunciation is right.
I'm not Hoku at all. Because
yeah, so there's the way I have to explain this to people because it still happens to this day. This system exists. So in China, if depending on where so China has external migrants and internal migrants. And internal migrants from the farms, when they come to Shanghai or any of these cities, they don't have the same rights as people who live in those cities. And this persists to this day. Back when, what Ellis is talking about is that the food is literally being apportioned out by government agencies, and it's being apportioned out by each person's Hoku. So if he doesn't have anywhere to go, he doesn't have any food to eat.
Correct. That means I had to eat my family's food. Because I didn't belong to Shanghai. I didn't belong to school. I didn't belong to anywhere. All I had a passport. Okay? So I was in the limbo.
Yeah, sure.
I was in the limbo. Okay? And I think about 35, 40 days later, okay, I received a thick envelope which has all the documents inside. Okay, was all organized, saying congratulations, we approve your visa, request this and that. At that time, finally, it's like it starts sinking to my head. Say, oh my goodness, this is real. This is real.
Did you have a perception in your mind of what America was like? We often hear. Despite the news recently, most immigrants to America would have had an American dream in their head. They would have heard about America as a land of opportunity, as a land of freedom. Did you think that you were going to a better place? Were you excited that you were leaving China, which to many Westerners, China, especially in the 70s and the 60s, was just a big jail. It was like a big jail for all of its citizens in a sense. And did you have a feeling that you were leaving that, or was it just, this is a good adventure? How did you feel about it at the time?
Okay, first of all, you have to understand, in the early 80s China and today's China, in terms of the communication, how much Chinese know about the U.S. is totally two different, complete different. In the early 80s, it was complete blocked. Chinese had no idea what is United States is about. No idea. They even didn't know there's something else out there. Okay? Remember, after 20, 30 some years, you kind of get used to the system, get used to the living there. You think this is normal.
Yeah, it's like North Korea is now.
Right. You never imagine, there's something out there. No, the imagination even did not exist at that time. Did not exist.
So what were you thinking? Where were you going?
I just thought it's just like 7 years ago, I went to the farm. Now I have another journey. Guess what?
New adventure.
I'm not kidding here.
I'm sure.
Like I said earlier, it's not like, oh yeah, I have fulfilled my dream. No.
Yeah.
I said, wow, I just have another opportunity here. I have no idea what the American look like. I have no idea how am I going to end up over there. I have no idea. Zip. But the one thing I knew, just what I learned in the farm. Okay? Compared to what I used to be, this has to be far better than it was. Just by comparison.
Okay.
Unknown really didn't scare me because I went through 7 years. The farm's unknown really taught me a huge things. Don't worry about unknown. Okay? Go out to face whatever it is. Do whatever you have to do. You will survive. Okay? But you know what? Later I find out, come to States, a little bit more difficult than when I went to the farm. Because a little bit difficult. Okay? But that was the mindset. That was kind of, okay. First thing was do the preparation. Okay? At that time, there was no direct fly. We have to find a fly. So what happened was come from Shanghai to Tokyo, Tokyo to San Francisco, San Francisco to Cleveland. Remember, my aunt helped me out. My aunt, my uncle, family live in Cleveland. Okay? They've been in Cleveland since I don't know, for a long time. So my aunt really thought for me to adjust to the environment, it's a good idea. Also, it's a necessity to live with them. So that's
why did they live in Cleveland? Why did your aunt and uncle live there?
I think they went to they come to States. They went to school, and obviously they live in the different cities. And then my uncle was a doctor. Okay, so they went to Columbus, Ohio, with the Ohio State Medical School for the interns, things like that. I really didn't know the details, but eventually they settled in Cleveland.
Got it.
Okay. Eventually they settled in Cleveland. But you know what? I love Cleveland because Cleveland is a city not too big, not too small. It's kind of and it's calm here. But again, we didn't have lots of money at that time. Remember, airline ticket like a number. The ticket, it's like the price of ticket like a number. My mom never dealt with that in her entire life. Like holy moly! I think even these days we just talk about. I think because we didn't have money. Remember, lots of things being taken away from us. So we literally didn't have that much left. Okay, but for whatever reason, my mother, kind of managed that. I think he sold lots of stuff, just tried to raise the money for me. Just tried to raise the ticket for me.
Do you know what the price of the ticket was in yuan? Do you remember it?
Oh, I think at that time it's pretty expensive. It's not that one way. I believe it's like US dollars, like $1,400-$1,500 one way at that time.
In 1980.
Yeah, you know what you should do? Right. You could do this.
One way.
You could do this. You could take your net worth. You could divide $1,400 by your net worth and figure out what your return on investment was on that ticket. That would be a good number.
Then, if that's the number, let me give you something else here.
Sure.
Okay. At that time, the only Chinese government only allowed me to exchange $60 US.
Okay.
When I leave in China that morning, I had $60 US in my pocket. That was it.
Mm-hmm.
That was it. Okay.
But speculating in foreign currency would be a crime in China at that time, would it not? Like if they can only give a certain amount of foreign currency out, right?
Oh, sure. Right. Even not a matter of exchange. They can take whatever the yuans they want, but that's like they totally control. But they have to. They have to, okay? But that's what they, at that time, not like today. You know what I mean?
For sure.
I mean, even for them, $60 could be a good number. But today, you know, but at that time, for anybody, okay? Sure. So when I landed in Tokyo, and I'm wandering around in the airport, I saw Coca-Cola with the $2. I was thinking, geez, you know, that must be a different world, a different life. I only have $60 in my pocket. I want to have something to drink. It will be $2. Oh my goodness. So I end up in the men's room outside drinking the water because I said, oh my goodness, okay, I'm not going to pay anything. I mean, I'm just looking for some place I can have a drink for I don't have to pay anything. You know what I mean? Sure. The comparison is when I went to the farm, it's just very difficult physical work, okay? When I come to the United States, it become my head change, okay? What happens in my head start changing, not my body. The head start changing. The head they have to adjust it, okay? Because truly, no comparison, no imagination, never ever thought that something ever existed like that outside of China. It just, I don't know how to describe this. It's just like, it's just unknown. It's just imagine you end up a place, what you're going to walk into is complete unknown, okay? You even didn't know how to deal with it. You even don't know how to behave, nothing. Zip.
Sounds like the farm all over again.
Yes, but in a different way.
So you're in Cleveland. You're in Cleveland. How old are you?
So about you know, then I landed in San Francisco. I landed in Hawaii, and when I went through the U.S. Immigration, the people over there, they never saw the Chinese passport. They said, "Oh my goodness, this is Chinese here." I was like, "Okay, it's me." Okay. And then they were so nice to me, okay? Oh, you come here to study? I said, yes, okay? So after that, San Francisco, my uncle lives in San Francisco, so he actually come to airport. We never met in my life, okay? So he got me, he fed me, and then he put me back on the airplane again. Then I flew to San Francisco to Cleveland. Let me do a simple way to describe this. After I slept for 2 to 3 days when I woke up, when I go out, you, Mike, and Greg, to me, your guys look exactly the same.
I'm way better looking than he is.
I know. But you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
For me, all you guys look exactly the same. It's kind of weird, okay?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's how it went. Yeah.
So, and then are you able to converse in English at this point?
Yeah. Obviously, then we're talking about the schoolwork. My aunt was extremely good and tough on me. Language. I have to learn language. I have to learn how to behave, how to sit, how to stand, how to eat. I have to relearn everything because remember, when you live in the farm for so long, okay, we even didn't have a table to eat on it. We're holding a rice bowl. Okay, sure. Now I have to learn everything.
Yeah, you're a peasant.
I'm not kidding here. Yeah,
you were a peasant. You lived like a peasant. I mean that like with all the baggage on it. You know, eating with your hands.
Absolutely correct. Yeah, using hands. Okay, and even worse than peasant. Like you said, it's nothing right or wrong here. It's just the way it was. Okay,
it's the only way to describe it. You're a serf. You're a peasant. You're basic, just surviving hand to mouth.
Exactly.
Yeah. Sure.
And now you imagine, now you come here, okay? You have to sit nicely, okay? You don't have to, You have to learn. I never saw the knife and the fox in my life. I have to learn with that. Anyway, this is my reborn again.
Sure.
Literally reborn. Hey guys, I have a show. We'll start in 10 minutes. Do you guys mind we stop?
Looks like it's going to be part 3. It looks like it's going to be a 3-pack.
At minimum.
Guys.
Yeah, Ellis. So
Okay.
we're gonna get the rest of the story. I think it's a good spot to stop anyway. Ellis Yan, we'll be back again with part 3 soon enough. Thank you.
Thank you. See you guys next time. Yeah. Bye now.
Oh baby, you got what I need. It's tcpi.com, Greg. I think that's enough singing for me. What's happening, man? tcpi.com. Woo!
TCPI, we talked about before. You heard from Ellis today, more of his story. On our next episode, I think we're going to have to get into where the hell TCP came from. Maybe. We'll see. We talk a lot when we get into things with him, and we're kind of historically going through it all. But what a great company TCP is. And you can see it from, a lot of it came from Ellis and his background and his story, and to what they are today, one of the leaders in LED lighting in terms of having just about every product that's out there that you need, and every color and every wattage and every size. So when you're a distributor and you go sell somebody an R30 bulb, you can sell that thing and you know that you're going to get any color they want. You can get 24K, sure. I get 24. Dimming, yeah, no problem. Wattage, yeah. Got it all. Go to TCP. Check them out.
They got what you need, man. And of course, a proud member of the National Association of Innovative Lighting Distributors. And we thank Ellis Yan. What a gentleman. What a life. An adventure, really. The man's been on an adventure and more to come. At some point, we're going to talk about lighting. And so, it's really an honor for Greg and I to speak to you, Ellis. And of course, more than anyone, I know that Ellis agrees with this when I say it's an honor to have you listening. So thank you for listening, folks. Bye for now.
Written on the rectory wall, there's a sign there for all. If you are lost, Lord is there to find you.